They said the ritual was sacred. They never said it would feel like drowning in someone else's breath. The chamber I stood in pulsed with shadow, not the absence of light, but a living veil, thick and trembling. It clung to my skin like the memory of touch, threading down my spine in whispers that felt almost sentient. I didn't know what I'd expected the ritual to look like, but it wasn't this. It wasn't the silence that rang louder than screams, or the ache between my thighs from nothing but anticipation, or the way he stood across the room, watching me like I was both prey and prophecy. Eryx. He hadn't spoken since I entered. He didn't have to. The moment our eyes locked, the air had shifted. No, fractured. Like the veil between us had recognized something ancient, something inevitable. He wore ceremonial black, not armor, not silk, something older. The fabric drank the light, threaded with runes that seemed to shift under my gaze, resisting translation. His chest was bare beneath an open mantle, and shadows clung to the lines of him like a second skin. Unwilling to let him go, I couldn't look away, didn't want to. He moved toward me, slow, deliberate, predator smooth. Every step a question, every inch stolen from the space between us. My breath stuttered. He stopped just short of contact. "So," he said at last, voice low and edged with dark amusement, "you came willingly." "I didn't say I came for you." "No," he murmured, head tilting, "but your body did." Heat flared in my chest, anger and arousal twisting into something unsteady. I opened my mouth, but his hand lifted, not touching, just hovering a breath from my throat. "Don't lie now," he said, softer. "Not here. Not when the veil is listening." I should have flinched. I didn't. The veil pulsed around us in slow waves, the flickering torches throwing shadows that bent and curled unnaturally against the stone walls. It felt close, like we were being swallowed whole by the space itself. My pulse thundered. "What happens now?" I asked, voice thin. His gaze dipped, slowly, from my eyes to my lips, then lower. "You undress." A shiver tore through me. "Why?" "Because the ritual doesn't accept what's hidden. Only truth, only skin, only blood." His words were a spell, every syllable laced with command, not cruel, not kind, just inevitable. I stared at him, heart pounding. "You want me bare before you. I want you bare before yourself." I hated how those words made my breath catch. But I obeyed. Not because he asked, because I needed to know what the veil would see, what he would see, when I stood with nothing left to hide. My fingers shook as I reached for the clasp at my shoulder, the veil dress slithering down my body like water shedding from skin. The cool air kissed my thighs, my hips, my ribs, my breasts, and still, he didn't touch me. He didn't need to. His gaze stripped me faster than my hands ever could. When I stood exposed, skin pricked with goose flesh, he stepped closer. "Look at me," he said. I did, and in that moment, the power shifted again. Not because I was naked, but because I let him see me. Fully, without flinching, without apology. He reached for a small silver blade from a pedestal beside him, curved and wickedly thin. Panic flared, but he held it out toward me, hilt first. "Your blood," he said, "offered by your own hand, or the veil will not recognize the bond." I hesitated. What if I don't want to be claimed? His smile was slow, dangerous. "Then don't bleed." My hand shook as I took the blade. It felt heavy for something so delicate. I met his gaze again, and then, without breaking it, I drew the edge across my palm. The pain was sharp, cleansing. The blood came fast, hot and red, dripping down my wrist in a line that looked like a vow. The veil shivered. A ripple of magic cracked through the air, scentless, colorless, but I felt it. Inside me, between us. His eyes darkened. "Now me." He reached for the blade and I placed it in his hand, our fingers brushing, sparks igniting like flint striking steel. He sliced his own palm without hesitation, blood welling like a mirror to mine. And when he stepped forward, our wounds aligned. Palm to palm, skin to skin, blood to blood. The veil roared, not a sound, a sensation, a wave of power so dense it stole the breath from my lungs and replaced it with something hotter, older, claimed. The word wasn't spoken. It didn't need to be. I felt it, branded into the hollows of my bones. The moment our blood mingled, something ancient opened its eyes inside me. Not a presence, a pulse. It moved beneath my skin like lightning submerged in ink, silent but alive, burning through the marrow of who I thought I was. I gasped. The bond didn't feel like love. It felt like possession. Eryx didn't flinch. He stood there, our palms pressed, our blood smearing together between our skin like a promise carved into flesh. And for the first time, his composure cracked, just slightly. A flicker of something raw passed through his eyes. Recognition. As if he felt it too. The connection wasn't subtle. It thundered between us like a heartbeat we shared. I could feel the echo of his breath inside my lungs, the echo of my fear coiling in his chest. "Gods," I whispered, trembling. "Say my name," he said, voice low, ragged at the edges. I blinked up at him. "What?" His jaw clenched, nostrils flaring. His eyes burned, not with fire, but hunger, need. "Say it, Nyra, while you still have the choice." My lips parted. He never used my name unless he wanted control, unless he needed it. So when I said, "Eryx," it wasn't just a name. It was a surrender, a spell, a curse dressed in reverence. His breath hitched, just barely. Then he stepped even closer. Our chests nearly brushed. My nipples peaked from the cold and the tension and the way he looked at me, like the ritual had stripped away all excuses and now there was only this. Only us. Only what we had become. A Veilborne bond wasn't just symbolic. It was alive, breathing. And it wanted. I could feel it coiling inside my belly, tightening around my ribs, dragging my senses to him like a tide. I felt his blood, hot and vicious, threading through mine, felt the echo of his restraint. cracking. He hadn't touched me since the moment our palms joined, but the air between us sparked like his fingers were ghosting over every inch of my bare skin. I couldn't tell where his will ended and mine began. He stepped behind me, silently, and the world tilted. I didn't turn. I didn't need to. The weight of his gaze pinned me in place more effectively than shackles. I felt him inhale behind me. Slow, deep, like he was memorizing the scent of my surrender. "I shouldn't want this," I whispered. He exhaled. "But you do." I closed my eyes. "Why does it feel like drowning?" "Because you're not resisting anymore." His voice was a shadow wrapped in silk. I heard the rustle of fabric, the whisper of him moving. Then, his hand grazed the back of my neck. Just fingers, barely there. And yet, I shivered so hard my knees almost buckled. His touch wasn't demanding. It was exploratory, possessive in its restraint. "You're shaking," he murmured. "I don't know what this bond wants from me." He leaned in, lips brushing the shell of my ear. "It wants everything." His hand slid down my spine, tracing the line of my vertebrae like reading scripture carved into flesh. I trembled. My breath hitched. My heart felt too big for my chest, a fluttering creature that could no longer tell the difference between fear and need. "What happens now?" I managed to whisper. His lips ghosted lower, skimming the nape of my neck. "Now," he said, "you feel it." Then his mouth touched my skin, lightly, reverently, like a priest at the altar. And I burned. Not with fire, but with the sensation of being seen. Every nerve ending turned toward him, every scar laid bare, every shield I'd worn stripped clean by the bond, until all that remained was want. The kiss deepened, his lips pressed with intent now, parting slightly, tongue tracing a rune into my skin, one I didn't recognize but felt. It lit through me like molten thread, branding itself down to my soul. I gasped. "Eryx!" The name tasted like confession. He turned me then, slowly, his hands firm on my waist, guiding me to face him. My blood still stained his palm, and I felt it again, that strange resonance, the magic that said, "Mine." Our eyes locked, and for one suspended second, neither of us breathed. He was beautiful in that awful, terrible way. Like a storm you knew would wreck you but couldn't look away from. And I was marked, not just by blood, by choice, by him. He lifted his hand and pressed his fingers, his blood-slick fingers, against my sternum, right over my heart. "Now it knows you," he said. "The veil?" He nodded. "And me." I swallowed hard. What do I do now? He smiled, slow and cruel and soft all at once. "You survive it." I didn't know if the bond had a voice, but it had breath. And it whispered to me in his. Eryx's fingers lingered against my chest, his blood smudging my skin like a sigil. Not a mark of protection, a claim. My breath came shallow now, as if the air had thickened between us. Or maybe I was the one unraveling. I felt the weight of the veil around us, pressing in like a second skin. It pulsed, faint and constant, like a heart that no longer beat for just me. The claiming had tethered us, not just in spirit, but through something older, crueler, sacred. I stepped back, or tried to. His fingers slid from my chest down to my waist, not stopping me, but reminding me of what I'd allowed, of what was still burning just beneath the surface. "You're different," I said, my voice too soft to be safe. He tilted his head. "Because you're feeling me now," he murmured. Without filter, without distance. His hand grazed my jaw. I hated how my eyes fluttered closed at the contact. Hated how my body leaned into it. I opened my eyes again. I don't know where I end and you begin. That's the point. His thumb traced the corner of my mouth, slow and deliberate. It's not just blood. It's memory, emotion, touch. His eyes darkened as he looked at me. Desire. My skin flushed hot. You want me to lose myself. He stepped closer until our breath mingled. I want you to find yourself. Here. He slid his hand down, splaying it low across my stomach, right above where the heat pooled, where the bond throbbed loudest. In this. A whimper escaped my throat before I could bite it back. He didn't smile. He didn't gloat. He simply watched me unravel. "You're not ready," he said, but his voice held no mockery, just truth, laced in longing. "No," I whispered, "I'm not." "But you will be." His lips brushed my forehead, not as a lover, but as a hunter marking his prey. My knees threatened to buckle again. "I won't be your weakness," I breathed. His mouth hovered just above mine. "No, Nyra," he said, name like silk over stone. "You'll be my war." Then he stepped away. Just like that. The loss of his heat felt like being flung back into my own skin. The bond still echoed, but it had dimmed, curled back into itself, waiting. My hands trembled as I pulled my robe tighter, like it could shield me from what I'd allowed, from what I'd felt. He watched me, waiting, not moving to help, not moving to leave, letting me decide. "I should hate you," I said. "You still might. And God's help me." But I smiled, not because it was funny, but because it was true. The bond didn't feel like love. It felt like destiny sharpened into a dagger. And I was already bleeding,